Chapter 2. There's a Science of Getting Rich. There's a science of getting rich, and it is an exact science, like algebra or arithmetic. There are certain laws which govern the process of acquiring riches. Once these laws are learned and obeyed by any man, he will get rich with mathematical certainty. The ownership of money and property comes as a result of doing things in a certain way. Those who do things in this certain way, whether on purpose or accidentally, get rich. It is a natural law that like causes always produce like effects, and therefore any man or woman who learns to do things in this certain way will infallibly get rich. That the above statement is true is shown by the following facts. Getting rich is not a matter of environment. The ability to do things in this certain way is not due solely to the possession of talent, for many people who have great talent remain poor, while others who have very little talent get rich. Studying the people who have got rich, we find that they are an average lot in all respects, having no greater talents and abilities than other men. It is evident that they do not get rich because they possess talents and abilities that other men have not, but because they happen to do things in a certain way. Getting rich is not the result of saving or thrift. Many very penurious people are poor, while free spenders often get rich. Nor is getting rich due to doing things which others fail to do, for two men in the same business often do almost exactly the same things, and one gets rich while the other remains poor or becomes a bankrupt. From all these things, we must come to the conclusion that getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way. If getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way, and if like causes always produce like effects, then any man or woman who can do things in that way can become rich, and the whole matter is brought within the domain of exact science. Talented people get rich, blockheads get rich, intellectually brilliant people get rich, and very stupid people get rich. Physically strong people get rich, and weak and sickly people get rich. Some degree of ability to think and understand is, of course, essential. But insofar as natural ability is concerned, any man or woman who has sense enough to read and understand these words can certainly get rich. Also, we have seen that it is not a matter of environment. Location counts for something. One would not go to the heart of the Sahara and expect to do successful business. Getting rich involves the necessity of dealing with men and of being where there are people to deal with. And if these people are inclined to deal in the way you want to deal, so much the better. But that is about as far as environment goes. If anybody else in your town can get rich, so can you. And if anybody else in your state can get rich, so can you. Again, it is not a matter of choosing some particular business or profession. People get rich in every business and in every profession, while their next-door neighbors in the same vocation remain in poverty. It is true that you will do best in a business which you like and which is congenial to you. And if you have certain talents which are well developed, you will do best in a business which calls for the exercise of those talents. Also, you will do best in a business which is suited to your locality. Getting rich is not dependent upon your engaging in some particular business, but upon your learning to do things in a certain way. If you are now in business, and anybody else in your locality is getting rich in the same business while you are not getting rich, it is because you are not doing things in the same way that the other person is doing them. No one is prevented from getting rich by lack of capital. True, as you get capital, the increase becomes more easy and rapid. But one who has capital is already rich and does not need to consider how to become so. No matter how poor you may be, if you begin to do things in a certain way, you will begin to get rich, and you will begin to have capital. The getting of capital is a part of the process of getting rich, and it is a part of the result which invariably follows the doing of things in a certain way. You may be the poorest man on the continent and be deeply in debt. You may have neither friends, influence, nor resources, but if you begin to do things in this way, you must infallibly begin to get rich, for like causes must produce like effects. If you have no capital, you can get capital. If you are in the wrong business, you can get into the right business. If you are in the wrong location, you can go to the right location, and you can do so by beginning in your present business and in your present location to do things in the certain way. When he says the certain way, he is talking about the way that is certain, meaning that you carry with you in everything you do an absolute certainty, an absolute unshaking faith. That's what that means. So by the end of this, you're going to know exactly what you need to do. You're going to know exactly how you need to think, and you're going to need to know exactly how you need to act, and you're going to understand fully, because everything is fully fleshed out in a very thorough and yet concise way. Concept of living in the state of the wish fulfilled and thinking from the end, not of the end. That's what he's talking about when he's talking about the certain way. So just to prepare you for that, if you're a Neville person, Neville and Wallace Wattles are talking about the exact same thing. It's just a different delivery. If you begin to do things in this way, you must infallibly begin to get rich. What he's saying is your circumstances don't matter. That's true. That's truth across every voice that is attempting to translate this truth into words. That's a universal when it comes to manifesting things. Your circumstances don't exempt you from being able to benefit from what's said here. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much debt you're in. It doesn't matter what the obstacle appears to be. All you have to do is adopt this mentality. Adopt it completely. Assume it. Use the law of assumption. Take it on fully and persist in thinking this way until it becomes habitual and natural to you. It's blown my mind how much of this book is just me. There are things in here that I don't even remember getting from this. There are mentalities in here that I just kind of thought were always a part of me. And I realized this is just assumption. It's just taking the whole thing on faith and taking it on and making it you. Eventually, it becomes you. It starts living through you. It becomes your identity, and your identity creates things when you're not even conscious of it. And so this is truly what the law of assumption is. It's taking on a mentality and persisting in it so consistently and so thoroughly that after a while, there is no it and there is no you. There's no line. It's just, you just become the thing. And you become this creator that is able to use this and that is able to autopilot everything in this book. So really, this book is just teaching you how to think. It's not anything that's wildly different. If you're in the manifestation community already, it's not anything that's wildly different, but it is, I think, laid out in a way that is thousands of times more usable than anything I've seen anywhere. This is the most usable and complete guide for living abundantly that I've ever come across in the many, many things that I've read.